some of these armies, and this is a perfect opportunity. Actually, we've got it's our wife and a couple clan leaders coming in here. Let's make sure their money are good, and this is actually a good opportunity here to focus on a campaign strategy component of this campaign. We don't do this very often, so welcome back again, friends, to another episode of Tactical Enlightenment. Our YouTube channel is dedicated to all things Bannerlord related. Welcome to another episode of our Epic Vlandian campaign as we enter the end game. We have about, I would say, a quarter of the map. Maybe each kingdom has a quarter of the map. Of course, I'm not really going to show you the Far East. We continue to use this fog of war to our advantage here. Now, I started this episode because I just called a bunch of clan leaders to us here. I guess we're having a little council. We've got a good-looking army. We're going to siege Jakulan, but we've got a lot going on, right? We're at war with the Sturgians / Norse and the Aserai, and I want to talk a little bit about some of the important elements of a campaign, right? You have to manage these clans, and more accurately, I think it's good to supercharge them, right? We have George the Bandit King, Entho, Adrian the Bull, House of Saxe, etc., right? We have all these people, the Bearheart, Henry's out there doing his thing. We're going to make an Aserai invasion here, right? The best defense is offense. After we take Jakulan, maybe Galend, we're going to get offensive here, but I got to put these other campaign members, these other clan members to work here, right? We're going to assign them, we're going to give them a bunch of troops, hopefully give them some money here. Let's see, we don't actually have a lot of money. We've been kind of giving them money all along. In fact, George the Bandit King has, I was going to say 100,000, no, it's 1 million. He's got more money than, or almost more money than we do. So we don't actually need to give him any money. A good rule of thumb is the clan leader. And mind you, the clan leader, the guy that says Baron or whatever your kingdom prefix is, that guy, you want to make sure he has between 500,000 and 3 million. I don't think you need to give him more than about 3 million. And what that does is it allows him to have huge garrisons and packed armies full of really good troops, right? You can see he's got 66 banner knights. Well, that's only happening because we're giving him troops and we're stuffing money in this guy's pocket. Is that micromanagement? Yeah. Should they do it on their own? Maybe. They will make armies on their own, but this is just a way to supercharge your companion armies, right? Now, we're going to continue to feed them influence as well, and I will occasionally disband their armies as we move along in this campaign, right? We're up against just behemoth kingdoms. You may not need to do all these elements in your own kingdom, but these things may help you. Now, I want to mention this. Wazoo escaped. In fact, more accurately, he was broken out of where he was at. He wasn't Abcomer. Oh, he was at Dunglanis. So the Sturgians, sort of allied here with the Aserai, broke out Wazuban. Maybe we should have kept him in a more secure place. That's water under the bridge. In fact, it'll be just fine for the gameplay to have Wazuban out there. Now, we want to keep the clan leaders of these minor clans. That's another thing that's important to talk about. So we're going to try to keep Urgil and a few of those other guys. But these guys have stacked armies now. They have money. They have lots of influence from their keep. Right? They got lots of followers on their social media accounts. These guys are popular. We're going to be able to send these guys off in the world, and hopefully they help us micromanage, right? We can't be everywhere at once. We need them to help us, right? In fact, let's even out some of their fiefs here too. Let's hand out some spoils. As our kingdom has expanded, of course, the majority of the cities and castles are owned by King Hal, but it's time to start giving some of these out because this is another way that you can really help your companion armies out in the field. Incidentally, I talked to Tail Worlds about improving the AI or more control of these kingdoms, of these player clans, and they kind of told me, no, that's not in the works, at least not in the near term. So don't get too excited. We will probably have to continue to rely on mods for controlling your player clan armies. They're still probably going to do dumb shit sometimes. I'm here to help. Of course, we will continue to teach you some of the micromanaging things you can do here. Now, hold on a second. Let me try to focus. 1, 2, 3, 4. Perfect. Okay, so all of the clans now have a city and a castle That's optimal, right? That way they have troops, they have access to noble troops, they have money because those cities are generating income for them, they're getting influence, and now we just hope they form a big army and go out there and kick ass, right? This is another thing you can do. You can shove a little influence onto them. We've been doing that all along. And let's do this too. In fact, I wrote these down. Cantons. There's a few late game policies that I think are helpful. Here you go, right? Extra militia, super important, right? This one extra militia every day. Recruits replenish 20% faster. We're constantly at warfare. That means we have lots of money, so we don't give a shit about the reduction of taxes. We need more militia, and we need them to recover quicker from siege. Super obvious policy right there. Here's another one. Most of our towns are Vlandian towns, right? So this gives us extra loyalty, extra prosperity. That means more militia. That means more money, and we lose a little tiny bit of loyalty for non-imperial towns. That's okay. We'll manage that in other ways, right? That's basically an automatic one. And then citizenship. This is the last one. Loyalty to settlements of the same culture, right? That's going to be ours. Extra militia. It's like a composite of the previous two. So those three are really obvious kind of late game policies that you want to activate. Militia is key. Troops is key. You can't defend all these different fiefs at once. If they have 600 militia and a garrison of 300, they defend on their own. In fact, here's our capital. 1,100 troops, pushing 1,200 troops. Prosperity of almost 10,000 because we've been shoving grain into the mouths of all the citizens. They're all obese. However, what all that means though is that they're here we go, right? The Bearheart, Henry, I won't even try the French pronunciation. I'll butcher the shit out of it. The Bearheart, right? Forms an army, and he forms a big army. Beautiful, right? Even better, there's still more troops here for Antho the Black or Adrian the Bull, right? To form an army. We're having babies. We're dispatching armies, right? This is like Napoleon dispatching Marshal Ney to go mangle somebody somewhere else while he's busy with the mistress and conquering somebody else. You need to be able to do this in a campaign in order to have a high rate of success. I should restate that. This is beneficial in a campaign in order to have a high state of success. You do not need to do any of this shit, right? You can probably F1, F3 if you have a good army and perks and some other shit. But we're being besieged, right? Ortesia, they're all over us here in this campaign. So we're going to send those armies out there. Hopefully they're helpful. We're going to take Jaculan and probably skip over this. And hopefully we can get on a little Aserai invasion as part of this episode as well. But just a little campaign refinement, a little campaign strategy for you fellas. I want to make sure that we're a full service YouTube content provider. Of course, if he just made up his mind, when you supporters, you Patreon guys, when you expose yourself to our campaign, you're going to get berated by your commander, right? Just like Napoleon would go ballistic on Marshal Bernadotte or something like that. We've got Mr. Bearheart here going back and forth. Can't decide where he wants to siege. And, you know, it's one of those things, of course, it's not the character. I'm sure Mr. Bearheart, Henry the Bearheart, he would be all over this, right? If he was actually playing. He would be like, yeah, let's go invade the Aserai. Instead, he's kind of vacillating back and forth. Now he's going to Galend again. He came all the way down here to besiege Garantor Castle, which is good because he's right next to King Hal here. And now he's going across the whole map to go to Galend. Of course, these are things the AI is working, the AI that Tail Worlds is working on. With the 1.32 patch. We are still playing 1.2 for anybody curious. So we're sort of in between versions here. I didn't want to do it right in the middle of this now. What do we got going on here? There's at least, I saw another army there. Now Pencanak is under siege. So the onslaught continues, just as the doctor ordered here. We're being assailed left and right. Sturgians to the north of us, Aserai to the south. Here we am, stuck in the middle with a bunch of Aserai fucks. It looks like 4,100, 4,200 Aserai forces. Well, I think this is the kind of thing you take a chance here. I could gather up all our forces and smash this Aserai force into next week, but then we lose for sure Pencanak. We lose territory in the Highlands Arena to the Sturgians. So this is one of those situations. Of course, in your real campaign, you would just give the Sturgians peace, right? And then you'd go smash the Aserai. The AI is notoriously weak when it comes to realpolitik. Frankly, it doesn't do it, right? There's no backstabbing, no theatrical campaign planning whatsoever. It just randomly peace, war, peace, war. We're going to have to wait for generative AI to study the Bismarcks and stuff like that before we get all that kind of good stuff. Now, I've got to introduce this fella here, right? Apollo. There you go, brother. We got your character into the game. You sent me 2 different spellings of him, and this is not the actual character statistically that you sent in. I looked at your fella, and he was just too strong to insert into the middle of our campaign. So this guy's kind of an amalgamation of all the different things. We did put his whole little encyclopedia in there, right? All the details you wrote about this guy. Of course, guys, feel free to pause and read some of the lore behind some of these characters. There's a lot of the guys writing in that want to be part of the campaign, and a lot of them are very creative. So at the same time, I'm not just going to have it, I'm not going to read the whole thing to you like a dad with the lullaby or nighttime story or something like that, but I think he looks badass. And of course, I put the Oath Sworn on there. He looks like an Oath Sworn, and he's got really good gear for you, Apollo. So best of luck, because into the fray you go. No training grounds for you at all, or any of the other companions, right into the fire here with the Death for All mod cranked to the max. You can join somebody else's campaign where they just smash everybody. Here we are wading into trouble, and it's just strategic. Now he's coming back down to Garantor Castle. Make up your mind, Henry. Mr. Bearheart, well, I'm going to be all over that guy. The next time I see you in the Patreon or in the Discord, I'm going to be like, dude, your character vacillates. He's a weak, vacillating, petulant. No, of course, I jest. So let's give this a shot here. Is it risky? Sort of, but we're starting to form a juggernaut army. Of course, if you watched the previous episode, our army is turning into a doom stack. And even though we're outnumbered 2-1, the power bar favors them significantly, but I'm not too concerned. You know, they have very high-end lords, of course, the StrengthenAI mod. These lords have 500% normal hit points. But at this stage, with our army here, with our fleshed out captains, I wanted to make sure we had that setting correct so the death scroll wasn't too intrusive. I still feel like we could win this battle. And of course, probably 4/5 of our army is tier 4 and tier 5. We've been winning. And anytime you win, your army upgrades nonstop. Now, this is really interesting. It's a huge battlefield map, but they have cramped us into the corner up here between 2 different hills. I like this battlefield, and our position is great. Uphill, our units are going to be pouring downhill. And let's see, Javcav. Let's get some guys assigned here. Ramirez, another Patreon supporter, get you in the 4th. He's not really a crossbow guy, but we don't have anybody else right now. So you can whip out your axe there later on. Let's see. I got to try to figure out, we need a more defensive cavalry captain. I'm sure Henry's like, that's me. That should have been me. We'll get you guys into battle, of course. There will be stages where we have most of the guys in one army at some point. But with this bifurcated double front campaign, I think it makes sense for us to start splitting like this. Now, speaking of splitting, I've got an idea here. This is one of those things where you just try, and sometimes you discover a brilliant new strategy. What I'm going to try to do is pen all of these Aserai Vanguard Fairest against this hillside. I've got, 213 cavalry. It's a cramped battlefield because for some reason they're starting us way in the corner here with no room to move. So what I'm going to do here is form defensive lines of archers, skirmishers, and then have shock troops and infantry jam up that pass. And basically, we're going to try to make a big traffic jam. Now, the fun part of this is I'm going to 7th, 8th. I can put a heavy cav division, and all of our horse archers, 127, and probably half of them are cons guards, way on the other side of the battlefield where there actually is space. And if the enemy charges are right there, we're going to be able to come in behind, slam them against the rocks, shoot them full of pieces, slap their mama, and hopefully win the battle here. Of course, sometimes, best laid plans. You know what they say about best laid plans? Something, I think they go bad or something like that. There's some kind of famous saying that I never remember. Fuck it. Let's do it. We'll do it live, as Bill O'Reilly once said. Let's see how this goes. Now, if it works, the great part is our reinforcements are going to be right in the enemy's lap, right? All these Vanguard Fairest trapped right here with their skirmishers. And they are distinctly heading towards our left. Son of a bitch. Well, let's see what happens here. They might split. Our forces are a long ways away. I can't imagine they'll all attack our left flank, but maybe they will. Now, this will be a really interesting battle for you guys to use the mini-map. I just kind of glanced at it, but I can't use it, of course, while I'm commanding. Maybe it'll be so far away you can't use the mini-map, but our units have to be 500 meters away from the rest of the force, and the bulk of the forces are coming this way. That's a problem. In fact, even more are starting to stream this way. Alright, well, let's charge them with heavy cavalry, get horse archers behind them. Damn. Well, what did I just say about best laid plans? I'm running into trees, and we look like a tactical idiot here. Damn it. Well, at least some of them are coming this way, and whatever ones, it's like quiet over here. Whatever ones come this way are going to get destroyed. I have to keep in mind that infantry, because their infantry's pouring in as well. They had a bunch of infantry and archers. That's good death spam, though. Now, we have superior troops. Not only do we have tier 5, tier 6 units at this stage, Banner Knights, Consguards, but don't forget, King Hal has 3-something medicine skill. I don't remember how high it is. Here's one of their lords. Let's see how much damage she takes. Or he's whining like a her. What is that, like 500, 600 points of damage? That's the beauty of the powerful hero mod. These enemy lords are beastly. It doesn't affect us, just the enemy lords. Now, at least we have our horse archers spraying arrows down into the fight. The infantry's a problem here, however, their infantry is jammed up against the rocks with our archers and skirmishers just raking the hillsides. And our first division that was in a square, how beautiful is that? The enemy passed it. Now they come in behind and just close the vise. Just squeeze their head till their eyeballs pop out of them. Well, the 8th Corps got decimated. Oh well. It is what it is. Hopefully we didn't kill any companions this episode. This battle. Probably kill you your first battle, Apollo. Now, your character's not very strong, and some guys, you know, they want me to put in their character that's level 34. I've got to use some level of realism here. I can't just input uber gods into the campaign. Let's move these guys back to 7th Corps. Look at this guy's fell asleep and just woke up at the last second. That's some nice death spam. The enemy's right in the middle of our forces there, and we got a huge truck of reinforcements. So that's one big advantage we have. Because right now, at least, we're fighting where our forces are. Look at this bitch. Die! Actually, I think that was Wazuban's wife, Rema. Look at that maelstrom. All their fucking vanguard Ferris can't move. We've got them penned up pretty well. Their reinforcements are a long ways away, and we are just swallowing up this force here. They are getting devoured. And this is why I thought I could take on a force twice our size. Right? Eventually, when you get a Doom Squad, you can start doing this. Now, note, again, Wazuban's not here. The top Aserai commanders aren't here. Zhao Liang is not here. The edited Aserai commanders are not on the field yet, right? They're probably gathering armies as we speak. This is sort of the second tier Aserai forces, and just like the Sturgian second tier and third tier, sort of their backup commanders, we're having our way with them here, right? We just blasted them out of here. It looks like we have maybe 30 or 40 Varangians in there as well. The Aserai probably don't have any Varangians, right? Because, of course, they're to the south. Advantage us. And move this whole formation just very slowly. We can start making a V-shaped formation. We have a huge amount of troops. Of course, Battlesize mod, right? So we're probably pushing 600 units on the field. 288, 140. We might have 700. It's mostly infantry, and that's how King Hal likes it, right? We could protect our flank here from horse archers with the 8th Corps, the diminished 8th Corps for sure. They've got kind of a trickle of infantry coming up right into the phalanx of our infantry, closing the vise. Let's kill these boys here, these idiots. Now, I have a full health bar. I just looked down. You know, I'm getting more and more comfortable with King Hal. He's got elite armor. I sometimes forget to show it, especially guys who have never seen an episode from our Vlandian campaign. They probably think we're using, you know, invulnerability for the main character. Nah, he just has incredible armor. In fact, we just fell a long ways there. It's legendary this and legendary fucking tier 6 piece of this, and it's elite. Let's start forming. That's the 6th. I'm hoping we have some skirmishers. In fact, I know we have some skirmishers, but this is where I wish I had a Battanian army, because we could just close in on this force. I think we're going to anyways. It looks like they are turning defensive in this battle. It's really interesting. Of course, their initial waves were all Vanguard Ferris, and now that they're through a lot of them, it looks like they're like, oh shit, they're a boxer reeling at the back of the back of the ring. Their corner is like, oh shit, put your gloves up, dude, you're being rocked. Let's pull our guys over here. We've got this ridge to protect us. I don't need to get sprayed by their horse archers. You bitches can come to us. We'll just park all our units over here, reverse slope decline. The terrain is our friend. Now we have a good amount of all of our troops. Archers, horse archers, cavalry, infantry, skirmishers. We have, and that's kind of the point. This army, it's not perfect maybe. You know, we'd have more fiend champs probably. But it's a damn powerful army. I guess skirmishers too. I wish we had, you know, an additional 100 wildlings. We're leveling them up though. We must have, last time I looked, we must have like 50 non-wildlings that are of that troop line. So they'll be, you know, they'll be leveling up. And we still got some fiend champs. Now these horse archers, they think they're being sneaky, but I got radar vision here. We all have radar vision. They're trapped. Let's move the 2nd, 1st, 3rd, and 6th back there to close them off. Horse archers just came to their flank. Just spray some arrows. See how they like some of that shit. And now we can bring in our infantry. In fact, let's just bring all our units in here. This is a lot of horse archers. We're playing rough down here. And let's just destroy this division, right? The enemy can't help them. This is what they did to our archers, right? Our horse archers. Fuck you, right? Except let's close the vice. They're heading right towards our infantry phalanx. It's like 200 men. Let's tighten it into a shield wall and just obliterate these horse archers. We might kill all of them. Let's charge with this horse archer division. Just pull them towards me, hold fire, and charge. Right? It's just all of a sudden glaives wailing everywhere. Kill them, boys. There's a lot of Consguards in there. And they are reeling again. As the screen fizzes green. And they're pixels, but imagine the troops down there watching this. They're just watching division after division being swallowed up. And their incompetent commanders like, hold the line, fellas. Steady now. Steady. And they're like, yeah, fuck you, steady. We're gonna get destroyed. We're gonna get destroyed. And then they're like, look at this fucking maniac. Someone else can fight that guy. Got this legendary glaive. It's what's really funny, of course, if you guys that have been following the campaign, when I first took over Hal, you know, Rylan, the main character, was really powerful and he died in combat. Hal was incompetent as a warrior. He had like 60 one-handed skill, and maybe he had lower than that in polearm skill. He just dismounted that noble. Well, now Hal is an absolute beast in all areas. And it's, you know, you become just a complete battlefield omnipotent god at this stage. Still have almost all my health bar. I think we're going to do some melee here. I have huge infantry wedges closing in the vice here. I still have horse archers firing away. We can get them to a flank. It is risky because their reinforcements are going to pour out, but here's what I'm thinking. If we can just come with a blitz charge and have forces on this side, on the enemy's right or left, what that'll do is cut off their main reinforcement loop. Basically, they'll get reinforcements right between our two different phalanxes, right, as that noble gets cut down like a bitch. They're basically going to be trapped if we can manage it right. They got 420 troops that are being pelted right now. I think this is just opportunity knocks. Now, we may have to pull all our forces back. We may even get this whole division annihilated, right? There's a good chance that this is just like my first plan. It fails. But if this works, we're basically going to have them in a death loop, and we might even be able to get most of these troops to rout, right? We're up against, what was it, 4,300? Something like that. It's a big amount of troops, but you know, if we can just get ahead of steam, and we've got a lot of troops that are uninjured or largely uninjured. These infantry divisions have barely seen battle, right, because we've been filtering in reinforcements and killing the enemy efficiently. 7th division there. Let's get those horse archers in place. I'm losing my voice. Excuse me. This is beautiful. And of course the AI does nothing. There's a huge trap closing in on it, and what does it do? It just adjusts a few millimeters. There's nothing we can do about it right now. They do have some horse archers, sort of. They're kind of plinking us in the back here, but they're not a real big threat. I usually don't worry about horse archers unless it's like 20% of the enemy force. Let's do this shit. I'm gonna swing around and see what they got. Oh shit, this looks like they just got a huge amount of reinforcements already. Alright, so our horse archers can't stay here. Let's pull them across and just knock their archers around. We'll be able to get them out of here, hopefully, get a lot of them out of here, and also disrupt a lot of their troops before the rest of our troops arrive. And this is, this is what I was talking about. Now, the 6th Corps is over here blowing up this flank, right? The enemy's being eviscerated. The 1st Corps is going to handle the other side. And despite the fact that those reinforcements poured in, look at the death span. It's just fizzing green. In comes the 6th Corps. We got the horse archers through. Let's see what they got here. Archers. Lots of archers. Horse archers. We like it that they're archers because they don't have good line of sight. They're downhill. Look at them. Half of them are looking around. They're screaming while they get cut down. And the infantry is just boring into them. Let's join this vicious line. This is awesome. Kill them all! You gotta love Bannerlord. Alright, that looks fucking beautiful. We're gonna get reinforcements. We might even be able to maintain a continuous stream of reinforcements here just to, as soon as they get more forces, just flatten them one division after another. Basically turn a 45-minute battle into 15 minutes, if we can maintain our momentum. I'm going to join right in the thickest press here. A couple archer divisions for support. I'll probably split this first eventually and make sure that we have 2 strong infantry divisions. And that's the sound of victory right there. Your guys are roaring, charging up, and crashing into enemy lines. Fucking beautiful violence. And they have lots of archers. Our infantry. Yeah, you can hear them. They're all, yeah. They're excited to fight archers. Kill them, boys. The ecstasy of battle. Let's push these archers and horse archers to the enemy flank. The 2nd Corps of archers should be coming up behind us. I can't really afford to look right now. The enemy's being obliterated. I gotta focus here. We're swirling this whole infantry line into a fucking death mire. Get the fuck out of here. Good shots. I got these horse archers and Javcav behind me pelting the enemy. There's their archers. Let's push our horse archers right into their archers. You bitches are fucked. They just got more reinforcements right here. So it's getting a little chaotic. Now they got reinforcements pouring into our ranks. That's a good death spam though, right? That death spam's your pulse. It would be a lot harder from an information level to play battles without a death spam at all. I've never done that. I just realized. I wonder if I should just turn it off and make it even harder. Of course, a lot of it's for you fellas. All you can see is what's in front of me. And right now, I've got a bunch of fucks chasing me. Get the fuck off. It's beautiful. The 2nd Corps is getting in place. Now, the enemy has tons of forces all over the place. It's developing into chaos. And that is because the reinforcements are coming out of nowhere, right? These fucks are all after the bounty. None of you bitches are collecting it on your back. There's all kinds of troops just everywhere. But, we talk about all the time. When you have a boss commander, high athleticism, you just fear no troops at this stage. You can either run or fight your way out of every problem. Now, the enemy forces are splitting here. They've got a bunch of forces heading to our left. I can't tell if they're routing or reinforcing, so let's split our divisions here. We'll have one division chase them and another division that I can angle somewhere else. The 2nd division is just raining bolts into the enemy. They've got a great position. Our cavalry's kind of rampaging around. And they must be setting up over there 3, 4, 5. They have like 500 troops over there. The thing is, though, I think we can expect forces behind us here, right? Reinforcements probably will come behind us here. So it's almost like inadvertently the enemy's trapping us here. Motherfucker. Someone just drilled me in the head like a javelin to the cheek. But these forces here distinctly have routing behavior. We're sending cavalry and horse archers charging through them, and I see Aserai forces falling to the ground and arrows sticking out of their back. Oh shit, the reinforcements are right on us here. They're like following me. Well, we've got 2 divisions of infantry. I've got the 1st and the 6th. It's like a triple sandwich. There's Aserai forces everywhere. I've got the 6th division on the other side. And you probably need on some level, you guys are probably really benefiting from that little mini-map. So I have 1 infantry division chasing. I've got another division of cav and horse archers over there just molesting those guys while they try to reform. And then I have another infantry division that we can do whatever we want with, basically. Let's see. Archers are still sort of sparring up there. They've got a bunch of cavalry. Let's reassign some cav to deal with their cavalry. We don't want all our reinforcements trampled on the way down to the battlefield. They are turning to fight here, right? So let's split. Let's have 1 division cover 300, 400. I think let's send both for now. Let's send both right here. God, they look like they're routing, though. If they rout, you don't want to chase them, right? These forces look like they're routing. Not very many are coming our way. See how they're all running the other way? And we're being chased by reinforcements. It's turned into a really unusual battle. And this is one of the beautiful parts of a big battle in Bannerlord. This never happens in a small battle, right? Because it's one or 2 clashes and it's over. 60. I'm going to grab a horse here. This is the best way to grab a horse, is just to split a division, call them to you, and let the rest of the units do their thing. Let's pull those infantry out of there. I think those forces are routing to our, whatever you want to call that direction. There goes one of our companions rampaging through. I fucking love it. That does always make me feel extra happy. Like, for some reason, there's a great feeling of having companions and, you know, like your characters, some of your guys' characters running around the battlefield right next to me. It's just such a cool feeling of camaraderie, right? You got Zeus. A couple battles ago, we had Zeus and Apollo and shit like that. You know, hopefully we can get some really good action where it's a bunch of our companions all fighting together. We might even make a Doomstack division, especially if this campaign starts to really snowball. It's definitely starting to. But obviously, you saw before this battle, the Sturgians were attacking us. And this battle's over. This is even better than I had hoped. Basically, the forces are spawning onto the battlefield and auto-routing. I think because they got so pulverized there, basically it just killed the morale of the enemy forces. If you get 4, 5, 6 to 1 kill ratio, the enemy will just say fuck it, and their forces will just pack it in. Now, some forces are fighting. I see cavalry fighting here, these little fuckers. But most of their forces are choosing to survive, right? Or at least trying to survive. These guys are desperate to get out of here. Just getting their faces cut with a giant glaive. 709 to the face. And this is kind of one of those mic drop battles, right? This is a huge Aserai force I was nervous about taking on. Some people probably thought it was a strategic failure to take this force on. While we have forces nearby, I could have called the Bear Hard on over to smash this force. But there have been times throughout history and military history where this made sense, right? For a campaign to not get all your forces together. The biggest factor, of course, is distance. The other army especially would have been 4, 5, 6 days away. It might have been 2 or 3 days away for Henry. And I didn't want to wait 2 or 3 days, right? I was hoping, of course, the Bearheart would go siege, right? Would go do something positive at the same time. Go deal with the Sturgians or whatever. But ultimately, the gamble paid off here. Napoleon was the ultimate gambler, right? So was Alexander. There's been gamblers throughout history. The guys who are winning the most incredible battles or pulling off the campaigns of lore, they're gambling, right? Because the people who they wait till they have 9,000 troops to fight the 4,000 Aserai forces here, it doesn't make history, right? There's a footnote. Crushed a bunch of Aserai with triple our number, and nobody gives a shit. Or at least with all the battles of world history, nobody gives a shit, right? So I like to play Bannerlord this way. Of course, it leaves you vulnerable to the occasional surprise loss, but I imagine as a viewer, it's also more interesting because we're not just going to wait until every battle is assured. Victory is never assured in this campaign, especially with the reinforcement system, and that's exactly how I want it. So the fellas that have stuck along in this campaign, you guys have really earned this, right? My hat's off to you fellas. You can see my bald head here as we celebrate a glorious victory here with our huge train of allied forces. And only a pretty woman died. I've seen that gal before. She's a beautiful woman. Killed a beautiful woman today. That's always a shame, but this kind of victory is not. Now, Gothrin Oathsworn, you got to do some better work than that next time, Apollo. Otherwise, you're kicked off the team, right? We'll send you to the junior varsity. Now, of course, I told him beforehand. I told you fellas beforehand. We accepted sort of a lower skill variant for Apollo, for this supporter of ours. But you will level quickly, right? We will get you into some action. We might even give you a couple 3 stacks of javelins for a while, just for a higher EXP potential. Oof, another sort of breathtaking battle for me. It's always, sketchy in a battle like that, where especially you have a plan, it goes sideways at the beginning. You're already facing a big deficit, a huge amount of forces in a battle where things are at stake. But we were able to recover there. And some nice armor, right? But okay, so this is a perfect point. Look at this fucking armor, right? That King Hal, he's basically running around. He's a tank, a true tank. And all the rest of his shit is legendary. The guys that are running around in tier 4 and 5 armor that wonder, how we survive on the channel or other people on YouTube survive, that's a big part of it, right? Then you have the athleticism is 3 something, etc., etc., etc. Actually, he doesn't have 3 something. I can't remember what he has, but it doesn't really matter. He's hard to kill. That's the key to all that. So, what's next, I think? I don't know if we have enough forces nearby. I would like to do it quick if we're going to do it. That's not our castle. Oh, see, I did put garrisons here with this in mind. This was something I was thinking about strategically a long time ago, is an Aserai invasion. Not to destroy them, right? We're not going to spend the time it would take to destroy them here. And it's tempting, but you guys don't want this, right? This is not on a role-playing level appropriate at this time to have peace with the Sturgians, right? Fuck them. So even though all our nobles want it here, even though George, I know you guys want it, why, right? Right now we're rolling. We don't need peace. We're winning. We're like Napoleon in 1812. Fuck peace. We invade. So, maybe like Napoleon, we'll suffer a catastrophic defeat. We're going to gather up a bunch of reinforcements here. This guy has never been laid. With a haircut like that, that is for sure a guy who has never kissed a woman. I guess that was a popular haircut for a long time. They were called roundheads in the English civil wars. A lot of the poor people, the non-royalty had haircuts like that because they couldn't afford to, take care of fancy wigs and shit like that. But that guy, I just kind of assume that dude's never been laid. All right, the Aserai runway lays ahead of us. That's going to be next episode. That battle was long. I'm trying to think. We had a little preview to this. Even if these episodes are on the shorter side, no, I'm eager to continue this campaign. I'm going to try to take it up in some level right up to the DLC, although we shall see, right? We shall see how this ends. I can't promise you it's going to be swift or extra long. I appreciate you for following on to this stage. Please hit that like button on the way out, friends, and I will see you next time.